Okay.
So Mbuvi had a cyber. Let me just hold on. Let me try and remember the name of the cyber that Mbuvi had. Do you remember its name?
No. But I went there a couple of times.
Okay. It was quite significant.
Just go.
So Mbuvi had a cyber, and this cyber that Mbuvi had was the place where everyone in the gospel circles used to go and hang out.
Uh-huh.
And we used to spend a lot of time in prayer over there. I mean, we had great experiences in that place, and it would allow me to browse for free. And there are days when we didn't have food, and Mbuvi would just go and buy food, come with fries, and we all have a meal that evening or maybe even that lunchtime. I mean, Mbuvi was very, very kind to me. This is a guy that we didn't know each other from Adam. But we've become very tight. It actually got to a place where Mbuvi would even give me his Daihatsu without insurance to go pick up my decks in the house. And then the cops would come and bust. There's one time he gave me his right to go pick up my decks in Feather to go for the radio show. And when I got to the roundabout for Haile Selassie, I don't know how the cops smell these things out.
They do, man.
I saw him walking over a couple of cars. Then he came down to my car and he stopped. He looked, and he was like, "Kijana, weka gari hapa." I'm like, "What's wrong? Mbona unaendesha gari kama haina insurance?" Movie had not told me. But I talked to him and somehow he let me go. So I picked up my decks, came back to the studio. But at this cyber that Mbuvi had, there's a guy he had employed who actually have to give Mbuvi credit for employing this guy, because it's probably guys who look and be like, this guy employing him is probably not the right thing. But Mbuvi went ahead and gave him employment. And the job for this guy was basically, come clean the office, make sure the guys have tea, make sure the guys are settled.
Yeah.
So, and he did that very well for a couple of months. But then one time, Mbuvi realized that this guy was doing some messed up things in the cyber. So one day, Mbuvi rocks up and he finds this guy doing some nasty things, and he's like, "Dude, we can't allow this, so you're fired." And the guy loses it, completely flips, and he goes bonkers. And drama in the cyber, man. Then I rocked up like at around 9 o'clock in the morning and start talking to this guy. At least he would listen to me. So he put on he had his clothes back on.
So this time he doesn't have his clothes on.
So
he's making all this drama without.
So now
now
he's settled. Now he has his clothes back on, and we try talking to him. He's not listening to Mbuvi. He's flipped. So he settles down somehow, and we go down to the street now, next to Queensway House. And basically, I was just telling the guy, "Listen, just let this whole thing settle down. We'll talk to Mbuvi and we see what happens." And we think that he's chilled out. But then he starts drama again in the streets, like crazy drama. And I bring this guy up because of what he took me through for like a couple of months coming into town.
Yeah.
It was like a crazy spiritual warfare.
In fact, I was about to say that. I'm like your parental guidance in this story, in a way where this guy was demon possessed, sort of, or was acting in the behavior of that. So I mean, by the time you're talking about a guy removing his clothes randomly, that's just not a normal thing that you do when you're upset.
For a span of like 6 months, it was a dark place, man.
So this was your first spiritual experience. I mean, music is very powerful.
Spiritual. This is my first spiritual warfare.
These are the things that you read in the Bible.
Yeah, real life. You know how Paul would say that we went to this place, and this lady would come and say, "This is Paul, a servant of God," And it got to a point where Paul got so irritated with this girl who was following him, talking so loudly that he turned around and he rebuked her, and the demon left her. And this caused a complete uproar. Like, this one incident brought an uproar in Ephesus.
Yes.
It's because that's exactly what I was experiencing with this guy. Just that I did not know how to handle it. Because I've not been in the faith for a long time. I'm not even 2 years into the faith. You get, and so this guy now comes and starts bringing drama. So this day that he goes down, Oscar comes together with the guys from all over, Ian, and I think Dan, and they talk to him. They tell him, just come with us. Let's go to Arboretum, because now the sea, it was getting quite nasty out here in the streets. And you know how Kenyans are.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, it can get crazy. It can be mob justice can check him.
Absolutely. Then they start looking at this guy. They'll side with him, thinking that the rest of the guys are the ones who are on the wrong.
Exactly.
But they have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. So the guy listens. He listens to Ian and to Oscar, Ian and the guys, and so they go to Arboretum, where Olova is doing their practice, and so they pray. They spend time praying for this guy, casting out demons. That time I'm in town, so this is Oscar now narrating the story later to me in the evening at the digs. So when they thought that everything had settled down, and they start their exercise, their routines, then he hears the girls in Olova screaming. And then he's like, why are these girls screaming? Kumbe, the dude has gone back to Full Monty again.
He's been anything.
So it got so bad to a point where I would walk in the streets. You only used to go to the same street over there, Laundry House. And that was the only sub I used to go browse at.
Yeah.
So as I'm going, this guy would, in the middle of the street, he would jump and grab my leg and be like, huyu ni DJ Moz, yule DJ wa Metro FM, yeye huenda kulala na malaya huko hivyo Koinange Street.
What?
And I'm like, boy, where this thing's coming from? As in, he starts defaming you.
That's insane.
He did this for, I don't even know how many months. Like, you'd get into town.
It's over.
And then, you tell him, enye Buddha mazi, leo tuheshimiane tu. He says, okay, sawa. Bro, you start walking, he dives, grabs your leg, starts causing a scene. And then you start getting so irritated, so worked up. You're like, man, I want to beat you up. But if I do, there's a mob. These guys are going to think that you're the ones you're the one on the wrong.
Yeah. And you knew it
was
spiritual.
a lesson. There was a lesson.
At this time, do you know it's
spiritual? I knew this was very spiritual. And it got to a point where I decided, okay, I'm done. So I'd gone, read the book of Luke, and I remember Jesus Christ saying, he saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. He had already sent out his disciples to go out and cast out demons, heal diseases, raise the dead. So I was like, man, I'm going to go with the same authority.
Whoa.
So I meet this guy in town. So I go with the same authority. I'm like, let's deal with this thing once and for all. I'm tired. Go, same drama, same shouting in the streets. And now guys listen to the show. So it's not that he's talking about a foreign guy out there.
Yeah.
And he would mention my friends in bad light, man.
Mm-hmm.
So went there, talked to him, and I told him, let's go up. There's a church up here in not Chester House, Corner House. There's a church over in Corner House. Let's go over there for a few minutes and talk. But I knew what my agenda was. I was going to pray for this guy and cast out those demons. So I'm there dressed in swag. I had been given this nice red baseball cap, very dope. So went in there with my boy, let me call him my boy, and then we just start talking and I start praying. My God, the things that were happening, man, I'm like, this is too crazy for me. Because now he came and snatched my cap out of my head. I remember him putting it in his shoes and pulling it and ripping it to pieces, man. I have no idea the kind of strength that had gotten into this guy as we were having the prayers. Prayed. I thought things had settled down and I was like, man, I think I'm done.
He's back.
I was too exhausted, man. I was too exhausted, too tired. I left.
Have you seen him since?
Of course.
Is it the same?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, because it got to a point where he stopped me one time when I was walking in the streets over there at K Mathenge house, and he was like doing the same defamation. And there was this lady who was living with disability, or I think it was a man who was with disability. The guys who sell streets on who sell sweets on the streets. just over there at K Mathenge house. And so this guy goes and grabs all these packets of nuts and says, "Huyu ndiye analipa." And I was like, yeah, this guy now, it's gone
to excess.
It's become to it. You know, he's even messing up other people's lives. And that time he's saying, "Huyu ndiye analipa, I have no chums." And he took all these njugus from this lady and sweets. And then he just goes and scatters them. He opens up the packet and he just scatters them on the streets. And I'm like, okay, something needs to change over here. So like, I won't fight with him now. So I just went to a police post. You know how the government had opened up police posts in town? So I went to the police post over there by Hilton Hotel.
Yeah.
And so this dude is still following me, shouting crazy things. We go to the police station and I tell the cops, say, "Listen, man, I am tired of this guy." So I told them the story, what has been happening. And then this dude is like, kuna kitu mtanifanyia, mnataka kunichapa, kujeni mnichukue mnichape. So he started talking to the cops.
And that
with
was
that attitude.
That was the
guy was chukuliwad, man. He was thrown into that
small cell. And then he was like, yeah, he talked so badly to the cops. The cops were like, yeah, this is now too much. But let me ask. I remember him lying down. Told the cops. But them msipo niachilia mimi. Yeah? Mimi nitakojoa hapa hivi. The cops were like, jaribu. He did it. So let me say this. For me, the moral behind this whole story, or the experience behind this whole story, is your first experience with spiritual warfare. Big time. That guy took me through crazy things. He got our telephone number for where I was staying in Feather. He called me one Saturday afternoon. And it's like he was sent for you. Yeah. He called me one Saturday afternoon. And I mentioned a Saturday afternoon because at this point, I stopped doing the Saturday Jamboree show. And Kubamba has started being a Sunday night show. On Metro FM. Oh, you stopped doing the Sunday? So they changed their programming and they asked Moz. You stopped doing your Saturday? Yes. Show on NTV? No, the Nation FM thing is still going on. Yeah. But then Saturday afternoons. Okay, yes, I get it. They did their structuring of programs and they asked which other segment session time would you want? I said, give me Saturday night, 8 p.m. to midnight. Oh, not Saturday. Sunday night. Sunday night, 8 p.m. So give me Sunday. Because you're still also at family. Because we're still also at family. Okay. Sunday night, 8 p.m. to midnight is fine. So he called me one Saturday afternoon and he told me, I'm going to kill my mom. What? And I was stressed out because after what I've experienced with him this whole time, I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And I remember going down on my knees and praying so much that God would stop this action from happening. This guy, anyway, it's all good. Yeah, no, I mean, but it was a good opportunity for us to learn about spiritual warfare, and we had, and I'm grateful for the guys who we used to spend a lot of time in prayer with, Akina Philip from Shama and Akina Mbuvi and all those guys, the guys from all over. I mean, we're very intentional about prayer and about reading the Word. Somehow it kind of like prepared us for this, but in fact, the reason why for me this story has such relevance is because I have done school missions with you across this whole country. The one thing that you constantly see is a manifestation of the spirit world when you're in those schools. Yeah. The crazy thing. So this was your first, and we'll get to that, but this was your first encounter of this thing is beyond me just telling a guy and having a mental conversation with him and telling him, you are understanding what it means to be, what comes with being a gospel DJ. Absolutely. This was my first encounter, and maybe to let me see what was going to happen after that. Because in 2002, we did our first gig as K-Krew at Parklands Baptist. What is the name of the gig? I think we call it Sunday Jam Time. I can't remember the first what we called it. I'll probably remember as we continue having you can hear that. Let's stop. I think we call it Ikosao. Okay. What did we call it? I think we called it something Kubamba Jam Time. I think we called it Kubamba Jam Time. This was in February of 2002. It was extremely successful, and I'm very happy that Parklands Baptist gave us their venue. And during that gig, I invited Adrian and I invited Pinyi to come for the gig. to DJ.
I wanted them to DJ.
But say what's up to your son.
What's up, man?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine.
I love these Corona shoots. Thanks. Okay.
Can Daddy continue the interview now?
No, change bats. It's okay. Change.
Okay, you know.